Hey, friends, welcome to Twin Flame Abundance Live. This time, this week, because it's weekly live, we are going to look into a message from Divine Mother. Why not? Let's do that for Twin Flames, about Twin Flames. Does she have a message? And I don't know, let's leave it open, what it will be, because we're going to use a selection of my oracle cards that I've prepared here. There are all kinds of decks spread out here on my table, and I will intuitively look over them and see which ones to get, and then shuffle them and see what cards Divine Mother wants us to talk about. And deduct from that what her message is for everyone watching about twin flames, which is what you are when you are watching, because you are a human being and that's what you are on the deeper level. It's a deeper truth of what human beings are. That's for everyone. And in this time and space, where we meet each other on YouTube, you can actually go to be with them in all capacities that you so much long for right now, instead of late in your spiritual journey when everything has already been accomplished for you. No, you can do it now, relatively early in the journey, to do the rest of the journey together with them, side by side, in romance, in mission, and all the other ways that you so much desire. Often in the first place as very best friends, because that's what you are. Best friends of the entire universe. And that's an awesome time to live in, I feel. But it can also be confusing because it doesn't work the way you thought romantic relationships works. It works differently. It works the twin flame way, simply, right? It's not something out of your mind, I don't know what, alien. It works the twin flame way, but that does come out as different than what people have grown up with, what society and social circles think, how romantic relationships should establish themselves and continue to unfold. And often it also works differently than what you yourself think. Even when you feel yourself to be a pretty twin flame minded person, it very often is kind of different than you think it is. And, that is perhaps the most difficult part for people that I have seen in my practice of helping people to the consciousness state of harmonious twin flame union. That is the most difficult thing, and the most crucial at the same time to let go of. Because when you just go by your preconceived notions, even though you think that your preconceived notions are very twin flamey, then your preconceived notions still are an impediment for you to actually reach it. And with reach it, I mean the consciousness state that is harmonious twin flame union that you really want to get at first, and then you start building with them whatever you're going to build with them, the relationship, the friendship, the mission business, the family, and whatnot, because that gives the success that you're looking for, because that consciousness state makes sure that they won't run away anymore and you won't run away anymore. It makes sure that it is the true twin flame. It makes it a rule and a law that works for you to bring you the abundance that you would love to have inside of your union, romance, dating, marriage. To have that actual life together, that you want, with a house and with groceries and free time and all the fun stuff that you are going to do there, and the valuable stuff too. So that consciousness state, all in all, is really what you want because it gives you the joy that it is truly supposed to be about. And that's why I bring people there first. Sometimes people just can indeed be with their true twin flame when they arrive in that consciousness state. Bing! There we go. They can be together as well. They can say, let's start from here, wherever we are. I feel like I'm still, the other one says, for instance, very much trying to establish a, a good living where I live. And the other one says, you say, well, I'm just really unsure about how to gain money at this moment that feels good at the same time. And that would maybe not be like the ideal situation that you would have thought earlier in your life that was the beginning of a marriage or of a life partnership. But for twin flames in harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state, that doesn't matter. They can connect their powers and start as one to work on these goals, as one to start to work on living together in an actual factual physical situation. They can start to work on getting into a healthy, sane, loving relationship and learning what that is. They can from that point on start to learn that. And for some people, that just beautifully comes together with, indeed, let's do that in the physical. Let's start wherever we are and start doing it. For some other people, they are in the consciousness state, but they just need to work a little deeper on such matters because before, I'm sorry, I said that wrong, before it really starts to be realistic and feasible for them to actually join forces in the flesh, in the physical, and start that actual like relationship that we would think of with our programmed minds that it would be about, like with like a date and getting to know each other more, spending much time together, spending more time together, committing to each other. I don't know, getting married, building a family, building a business together, making money, growing old together, etc., etc. To start that building up. So for some, that needs a little bit more work inside harmonious twin flame union, where you still do the inner work, but then like clicked into another layer until that really is the moment that you can start that physical thing together. That depends a little bit. But in the end, you will see and you will experience it when you would be later on an overview looking back what actually happened. That roughly said, for the truth of the matter, it's still one moment. Because that's where it started, harmonious union. That's where it started. That's where it was starting to be made possible. Whether you can already live that in the flesh immediately next day, just starting slowly, starting somewhere, starting wherever you are, or you start wherever you are, but that's not physically possible to get yet, and that just comes a little bit later for you, that it just like flows in for you as well. That is very much possible too, and you will later on, when you look back, see like, well, yeah, I mean, there was something like this and something like that going on, and it was a little bit of a delay or whatever. But actually, in fact, in truth, in consciousness, in the heart, that started at the harmonious union. So it's also, in a sense, one. That's the moment, anyway. So yeah, I feel that was an important part that we talked about. Like, people have a tendency to want to go to their preconceived notions about what twin flame union is, and that holds them back to go to these actual things that life has proven time and again people go through when they go through the actual true twin flame development, how I guided together with Divine Mother. And so I gave a little bit of a description how that goes for people that go to harmonious union consciousness state, and then they go to the physical building of things from 0 or sometimes from -40 and then build up. That's very much possible because you're now in a consciousness state. So if you're not at 0, but you're at -40, following some sort of measuring system, that's fine. Start at -40. I certainly started at -50 when I got in harmonious twin flame union, among others, because I was in the narcissistic abuse victim mental health disorder, so-called, still too much to start it from 0. And that certainly gives the feeling as if you are at -50, because even though harmonious twin flame union is some sort of a turned around situation in your consciousness than what your consciousness was before. That's why with the true twin flame inner work we do the turnaround. That's what the significant difference is with the key tool that I teach people, that it has a turnaround inside of it. That's what the true twin flame spiritual work is characterized by. The turnaround. When you have a narcissistic mindset, because maybe you have been traumatized as a child into that. For this is an example, it's my example, but I can talk about my example freely because I'm the only one that suffers because of my example. I don't need anyone else. So that's one of the reasons why this example is good. But I actually do attract people, students that I guide into their harmonious twin flame union that also have the same problems, because I guess that's a little bit the law of how the universe works, right? You feel attracted to someone that has sort of gone through the same things, although you may not even know that. When I would have shut up about that, I would still attract these people. So there you go. But it's also a pretty an example of a pretty universal problem in more or less kind of an attitude, because our societies are pretty narcissistic. Our social atmospheres in the Western world are pretty narcissistic. So it's also very general in a sense. But so if you have that, whether you acknowledge that very much or not, or you have it in a lesser extent or to a bigger extent, you will experience that the sense of needing to be turned around is much more elaborate, is much more profound for you. And you might find yourself in harmonious twin flame union, which is on a deeper soul level spirit state, the layer of beingness for twin flames, that it happens. And then you might find yourself on the psychological level, which is like the layer inside of that. Like the bigger layer is the being layer, is the spiritual layer. That's where you are, twin flame. That's where you get into harmonious twin flame union. But inside of that, or underneath of that, you are a human being with a psychology. And when you have that problem that is pretty widespread in society in your psychology, you still need to work that out. And you might find yourself in a situation where you are at -50 of this, some sort of thermometer of rejecting yourself, so that you're turned around inside of your own psychology as um, as it relates to who you would actually be in a positive, fully healthy psychology under the layer of harmonious twin flame union consciousness state in spirit. And then you will need to go from -50, I reject myself, to 0, okay, I accept myself. And then start to be together with them. But from -50 to 0, where your psychology, not your spirit level of harmonious twin flame union, but your psychology underneath of it, still would need to prepare itself from I reject myself to I'm okay with myself, and now we can at least some sort of start. And then you will need to do that 50 degrees or something on the thermometer change in your harmonious union time, which is no problem. You will be able to do that, and then you will, start there. So all of this may be completely new to you, and people have their own preconceived notions. They think all kinds of things about what is twin flame union, and it's not even true. They have all kinds of ideas about what would need to happen for them to get it, and they have all kinds of ideas of what it's not supposed to be. And it's a lot of the time is really not true. And of course, this is fed by all kinds of phenomenon on YouTube and online that are untrue as well, and that are bombarding you every day with all kinds of untruths, complete nonsense and fabricated fantasies about how it works, what you need to do, etc., etc. And many people gladly pay a lot of money for them to be fooled. And that is why I talk more and more about what I talk about, because I don't want that for you. Okay, so maybe this has something to do with what Divine Mother wants us to talk about. Let's see. And I am seeing the Oracle of Change. This is the Oracle of the Shapeshifters. And I already saw the card. And this this fits the bill. Little Red Riding Hood. This is the story behind this card. I am not a victim, she says, although she was eaten by the wolf on the way to her grandmother through the forest. But later, luckily, saved by this man that was walking through the wood as well, because he was cutting trees. That was his profession. So he had this big axe that could splice. Strange story, actually. The tummy of the grandmother opened, and Little Red Riding Hood jumped out, alive and well, still always. We don't know how, but and of course, the grandmother jumped out of the wolf. That's how it's supposed to sound. Sorry, and of course, Little Red Riding Hood also jumped out of the wolf's belly. That's how you're supposed to say it. I made a mistake. So only the wolf died. So they were eaten by the big, nasty narcissism of our culture before they knew it. They were beautiful, naive people, very pure. They were eaten by the big monster of our society, narcissism. But even though that happened, and the forest is pretty spooky, as you can see on this card, it all ended well. And at the end of the day, Little Red Riding Hood says, I'm not a victim. I'm someone that has experienced a story that has made me wise. Now I understand what narcissism is. Now I understand why there are boundaries in life, because she was warned not to do certain things. Now I understand that evil people exist. Now I understand that I should keep to myself and not submit to such people. I should recognize that and keep myself safe when people express that. Even though everyone's a twin flame, also narcissists are twin flames. It's just on the deeper level. That's on the spirit level. You're a narcissist on the psychological level underneath of that. She's not a victim because she learned. She learned so much. And that actually healed her from something that was in her soul anyway already. And now she also never has to experience that again. Because now she understands from her own experience, she's not a victim. She has become wise. And you may have that as well. That you've been eaten by twin flame teachers that ate you alive. That asked you money and you gave it to them. But they just only could give you some sort of a romantic fantasy and some sort of psychological advice and some consoling. But they couldn't give you harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state, because they don't have it. They couldn't give you your true twin flame. So the abundance can't come to you. And I hope you learned from that why I say these things, why I would not advise you to do that. But when you do, learn from it and learn like, oh, that went nowhere. No, it will never bring you anywhere. It will just keep you running in circles and bring you back to your own preconceived notions. Now, some people want that and they will pay a lot of money to have their own preconceived notions validated. If you want that, there you go. It's not what I can give you. But when you've gone through that, you're not a victim, you've learned something. And you need to get your deeper layer in order, is the message of Divine Mother. On the spirit level, that's your harmonious union consciousness state. And at the moment that your vibration has risen to that level, and we'll be together there, we'll, have meetings there so that we can conclude that together. And your inner wisdom to know what's really going on and who the twin flame really is and stuff will have come to the table as well, and we'll meet each other. That's where it's truly at. And Divine Mother says inside of that, there are also those lessons, those now I understand the world differently lessons. Now I can see through the psychology of online coaches that have nothing real to offer, but it looks like it. Maybe their website is much more beautiful than mine and so professional. Who knows? So to learn on a psychological level, also whatever it was for you that you had to go through, and that you can now say of that you're not a victim of it. Because you have lived through it and are now on the other side to such a degree that you not only have overcome the difficulty of that psychological phenomenon or the narcissistic societal feel or blatant narcissistic personal abuse as a child or in a former love relationship or in another relationship. So you can align these two. You can align where on the spirit level twin flame union comes from, is given from, and you can align that with the psychological layer as well, where you come to an eye to eye with what's going on there, what's truly happening there. Even though the message may be kind of awful. That you see through situations, that people are lying, that people are not where they say they are, that people are mistaken about their own identity, that people are misrepresenting themselves, for instance, as being able to bring you somewhere where they can't bring you. And you align these layers with each other. And this is also, yeah, this brings wisdom, but it can be painful as well. But this brings truly wisdom when you are aligned with the divine. So with your twin flame blueprint, and you know who the true twin flame is. And you start to vibrate on that level with your deeper you, your spirit you. And that sounds very beautiful, and it is. Oh my gosh, you have no idea. It is. You'll be so high, like, oh, smoking the pot. So I live in a country where they smoke a lot of pot, so I know that's funny for a lot of people. So maybe I shouldn't say that word even. I don't know. On YouTube, you never know what they will do to me. But that's kind of high. I just wanted to point out that kind of high. If you never did that, then still like really high. You're like, ah! And then, 1,000 times more. That kind of high. It certainly feels like that. You're just in bliss. Let's put it like that. Complete and utter divine bliss. That's not over after 5 minutes as well. It's actually staying. You'll be very high, and it will completely overwhelm you and eat you alive. That's the nature of what that will be. That's true. But at the very same time, you will, and also you must, connect with the psychology that you start to see there. And that might actually be some sort of, ruining the party, if you will. At the very same time, I'm just trying to describe what will happen to you, because the party won't be ruined, truly. But you will see the truth of the psychological level. And that can be devastatingly clear. It can be like, oh my gosh, now I see the psychological landscape of what is going on in my life with my former twin flame teacher, with my false twin flame, I don't know, things of that sort. And you will know. And that'll be devastating in a sense that it just shatters your illusions. Let's put it like that. Oh, that's the word. It just shatters your illusions. Your illusions will be shattered. That is just a characteristic of coming in harmonious twin flame union. And if it doesn't meet you also sharply in that moment, you will start to feel these forces over time when you would maintain that state of consciousness. And these things will become clarified to you. Because, of course, it is a very pointed moment. But it's also, of course, you savoring that and moving forward in time, etc., etc. And then there will still be accessible, both forces. And you will feel that, you will experience that. And if it isn't clear to you at that moment, then it will start to become more and more clear when you move forward, provided you still do the twin flame inner work and do maintain that actual state, because you can also silently slide out of it if you don't. So we have another card from the vampire deck. So this was all a little bit spooky. So I was like, let's get another spooky card deck, because, I think it's also, the month in which we go to Halloween again. So this is actually my Halloween deck. And we got This is a Dutch deck again, so I'm sorry. I will translate it for you. It translates as victim. Prey. Prey. Okay. Prey. So okay. So I think this is what we were talking about. You see that you were the prey of the narcissistic culture. You see that you were the prey of your false twin flames appetite for easy sex or something of that nature. You see through these illusions, and they will burst. Your illusions will burst there, and you will see how much you were the prey of certain things. You also see that you've stepped out of that now, because you're now in another place in your beingness. You stepped out of that psychological layer into your union level layer. That's what happens at harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state. And you can see the illusions. You can see that you were the prey of certain phenomena of social world, of the physical world, of government, of, I don't know, of your false twin flame, of narcissism. Let's gather these cards here. Okay. So that we can review them if it's necessary. So you will get to the bliss, but you will also get to the shattering of your illusions. And that comes together. And you focus on the good thing. And you are a witness of the falling away of the so-called bad thing. And that happens to such a degree that you also don't believe anymore in good or bad. That will fall away as well. But you will see that the development is to go towards that good thing or the bliss thing. And the development is to get away from the illusions that shatter. So now we have a card from my own card deck. I designed it myself. It's called the Manifest, Union, and Mission cards. And we have D 3.1, finding and specifying of the procedure. This is like a wand to get things working, to get some magic. And it is about the procedure. All right, I'm going to try here to go to the booklet for you to read the text. And what is a procedure? You are in a process, and that is moving forward in time, quickly or slowly. But when there is this moment that it is about something that is not in time, but it is about the moment that is beyond time, that comes forward and unfolds itself to show you something of importance. That comes to you through a procedure. And you can find a procedure by doing the inner work, how I stand for it and how I teach it. And of course, the very central thing is the key tool that you can study self-study more in our Facebook group called Your Abundance, link below. Right. And the description of the card says enter the source. Connecting to the core gives a definitive attunement to life and your identity. This then asks for a renewed attunement with your daily life, with the world of forms, relationships, things, money, business, food, identity. Both have their place, but start with yourself in the deepest sense, always. The second piece will then come afterward and will adjust in a peaceful manner. This is how you see that development always has two pieces: making contact with the core and the slow evolution of the outer forms. This is why we also have divided your transformation into two ideas: process and procedure. Procedure is the way in which you make contact with the core in the moment. Process is the development in time and the results of that. You might be thinking, how do I make that start with the procedure? How does that work? This card will assist you with finding your way in it, your procedure. Is it by resting or reaching out, for example, or something else? A way for you to get clarity in this matter is what happens right now. Think about your present situation and ask yourself, how does this give an idea about how I can enter the core from here? The soul, the source. You will be surprised as to what kind of wisdom can come forward that is in your current situation about this question, and also about how to change the entire situation by considering it from this point of view. You have a deeply penetrating insight in situations towards the core of it, and this helps any endeavor, situation, or relationship exponentially forward. Your power can share, you can share with others by considering how they can enter their core from the now. Right, you can also help others with it. That's what that means. This important card has a second approach to the meaning to make the meaning extra clear for you. And the title is Know How. To know how is the question here. Do you know how? The how, the way in which things are done by the universe through you. There may be a specific taste of how that is specific for how the universe acts through uniquely you. The universe's how exists, your own how as well. The question is, do you have a relationship with it? Is it on the foreground of your experience? Otherwise, you may feel lost right now, or at least within a field of possibilities that seem equal and not a real answer to what you had been praying or asking for. It can be exhausting to be in the middle of these things in life and not understand the way forward that is most fit for the soul's and your project's development and union development as well. Union and mission, that's always what it is about in this card deck. Aligning to the how of the universe in the way you specifically hear this vibration come to you makes the difference here. In mantra singing, they call this the nad. When there is singing, that is the field of possible sounds to make, and it can be pleasant or unpleasant. But when you sing bhajans or mantras, then the real thing is when the singing, in the sound, there is nad. Nad is where the voice touches the soul while singing. The soul is part of where the sound comes from and shapes it in co creation with your material voice and singing technique. It is the nad that makes the singing worthwhile and connect the singer and the audience to the soul, which is the true value of the song and the people involved. You are a person that is able to find the how or the nad in any situation and professionally that makes you invaluable in any process or group creation process, because you form the anchoring of the work being done in the bigger field of value of the universe. And the same goes for your union, which is also a bigger than one person, a group process in which you are the anchoring of the work being done in the bigger field of value of the universe. So you finding your own procedure, your own knot, is crucial for coming into your union. Because when you find it, they will find it as well. Because that's law, because it's your true twin flame. And if that's not true for you, it is not your twin flame. So that is very crucial in this whole situation that we've been talking about here, that you find your how, you find your nod, you find your know how, you find your, what did it say? Entrance of source. That was the title of the first description of the card. When you find that entrance of source, you just enter and you just maintain like the secret of knowing how to find the entrance. Oh, where am I now? I don't know. My twin flame ran away. I'm confused. Why did they say that to me on Facebook? Okay, I'm lost. I need to find the knot again. I need to find the entrance of the universe again. I need to find the how again, to how the how that is for me here to relate to the core of the universe where we're one. Okay, I need to find my procedure. I need to find my door towards, oh, here's the core of the universe again. Okay, I got it again. And because you find that, you open to the procedure, you enter the source, you find the nod in your life's music and do it and commit to it and go all the way with it. They will too, because that's law, because it's your twin flame. And if it's not, then it's not your twin flame. Which is not a problem, because then your twin flame is still out there for you. Because you're a human being. So you need to find and specify the procedure, which is like the magic wand. Magic wand. Do we have a magic wand? Magic wand. This is the magic wand of some sort of the card magic magician, or like the. Anyway, this is more like the tree branch. I like that better, but this is funny. Is also funny. Anyway, so that's your power, and it is your empowerment in your union, in your harmonious union. That is your power. You can find it, and therefore they will too. And that's what your gift is to your own union, which is also completely different than people think that how twin flame union even works. They think they need to manipulate something in the fact that they ran away. And they think they need to enter psychology to some sort of do something with that. They should do a little bit more. They should be more wise. They should mature. They should do this. Maybe they should just come back, because I did everything right. Well, maybe you did, but it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is you go through the door to source. You remember that you have a procedure with which you can wand yourself back to your relationship with source where you're one, because you're twin flames. And then they will find that too. And it is just very difficult for people to get it through their head somehow, like that is really what you do. And it's the only thing that happens, that helps, that makes it real for you. because maybe you are going to, manipulate the situation and they do return. Well, I'm happy for you because that's what you wanted. But now what? It wasn't even your twin flame, right? It wasn't even. Now now you just have this silly man that just lets himself be manipulated by you. Is that an equal marriage? No. Are you now in the harmonious union consciousness state through which you feel the incredible bliss and through which your illusions will fall to the side, purifying your soul, which brings forward the joy and the love that it's truly about? Will that happen for you now? No. Okay. Twin flame union works different than people think. And it's just very sad. For me, it also took a very long time, It took me experiencing it all for myself. If you tell me I should do something else, then just honestly pass on what I have to say. Should I do something else? Should I just lie to you or something? I don't know, That's like, what else should I do? People still think that with the next movement of the stars and the constellations, that there might be a bigger chance that they come home. People still think that I don't know. When they wait long enough, that it will grant them, because they're now so sad they waited so long, they're so victimy. It's a victim. I'm not a victim card. I'm not a victim card. That the universe will now give it to them because they're so sad. They waited so long. Universe will just give it to them. But the universe knows you're not a victim and you do it to yourself. So that doesn't work. People still think they have to bring the person back in. I'm like, tie him down to the furniture or something, and then their twin flame has come home. That's not even what you want. That's not what you want. That's not a relationship. If you do that to your twin flame, you must pay for it as well, because that's just ridiculous and it's violent. You can still repair it when it is your twin flame. Because it is your twin flame, you can make a new choice. But you have to pay for these things that you do. You have to pay for the fact that you treat people a certain way. That is not conducive, not an extension of source love. So the true twin flame inner work is do the inner work of the consciousness. And then later on also align the psychology with that and learn all these psychological lessons as well within that, underneath it later on. That's what happens. So you need to be with a teacher that exudes this consciousness change. Well, that will at least give you a sustainable solution that gives you the true twin flame. So this is the card that we got from the Mary Magdalene deck that I was just shuffling and picking this out of, and it says color. So I think we just want to have, Divine Mother wants us to know that we would want to have, ideally, we would want to have a very colorful, beautiful, complete experience of the journey of our union, of our future together with our loved one. Is the one and only true twin flame. We want to have a colorful experience, like in the sense of not black and white TV. That's long ago. I'm not that old. I'm old. But it wasn't black and white TV. When I was born, we watched color TV. We did, yeah. It wasn't that long ago, that they had black and white TV. And I did own a black and white TV when I studied. When I went to study when I was 18, 19, 20. I did. So we want to have a full experience, not black and white. We want to have the true experience in all colors and all dimensions, and where it is like full of the zest of life in all dimensions, in my daily life and in my I don't know, my health, and in my food, and in my love, and in my relationships, and in my soul, and in my connection with God, and in my union level of connecting with the light that we are there. And I want to have all these experiences in full color. The colors of my soul. Like the full, what I love, what I long for, what I desire. That's healthy for me. That's truly healthy for me. To have a place for the true connection, and that within that, with everything that I love and can connect with in this beautiful, colorful spectrum of the fullness of life. And that's also why in the year group course that I will start up real soon, we are going to move through time every week with the group. Yes, doing twin flame inner work, opening your heart, doing the true key exercise for your situation, while we all check in with that too. And everyone benefits from the feeling that moves through the heart that brings you deeper. And while we do that every week, we also move through 12 months with every month another colorful, real life theme, such as healing and creativity and business and writing, sexuality, meditation, money, all these topics. To find the twin flame attunement in these topics and to be all round touched by the twin flame harmonious union consciousness state and working from there in these topics in our lives, so that we already start to transform in all these areas. And when we then arrive into the consciousness state, we will just be so prepared for it. What about that? That's what we're going to do. So, looking forward to that, to see how people are going to move through all of that and what's going to happen to you, what is going to be your story. So curious about that. Oh, I just recently brought out a long blog about my own story since my harmonious union. What about that? I will put it in the link in the, what's it called? The reaction field. What happened to me after harmonious union? Kind of a long story. after Harmonious Union. I mean, there's also a whole story before, but also after. I thought that was interesting. So here is that blog. I will put it below in the description box after the video is a recording as well. Let's look into the Dragon Fae cards. Divine Mother, what do you want us to talk about? Gaia's Dragon. Divine Union. Says it. It says it here. I know it's Dutch, but it's just what it says. Divine Union. So there she is, the green dragon, with some sort of goddess of the earth, Gaia, pregnant, sitting on the lap of this dragon. And I guess signifying that I'm also green today. What about that? And I also have something orange in my hair today. It's not fun. It's me. Yeah. Signifying, I guess, that what we were talking about, that you just want to have it alive. You want to have it all alive. You want to have it on earth. You want to have it manifested. You want to have it. You want to be happy inside of the life with your true twin flame that is totally connecting you to the heavenly mindset it truly comes from. But you want to enjoy that on the earth, in the richness of Gaia, in the fruits of the pregnancy of Gaia, of the earth. You want to enjoy it in the manifested reality of good food and satisfying sex and lovely children and friends that make you laugh and all the things, right? So, alrighty. Now we have a card from Divine Mother herself. Our Lady of the Holy Fire. So I guess this is really about the fiery thing. The fiery, colorful, manifested full reality of life, where all these happy things are just here and blooming and fruiting. Fruiting, what's that? But bearing fruit, right? And to get there, we had another card, and that is Our Lady of Peaceful Change. So that's what you want on your way there, because things will change for you, but there is a gradual continuing making the steps to make that happen, that you feels like an inspired train of decisions, and inspired consecutive choices sort of thing. Our Lady of Peaceful Change will make that happen with you, for you. And I am in change at this moment as well. There's a lot of change. It's really about, I really can feel, that I'm going significantly deeper, and also because new resistance is coming up to be processed, and so that I know that by moving through that, new fields will be awakened inside of me and in my life, fields of abundance, fields of relationships and happiness inside of that, and the sharing that can be happening there, and new fields of, just connecting with the fullness of life. It's the same thing that we are now going in the direction of releasing the opportunity for you to come to the full year course with a group moving year round, I advise to take at least 3 years through all these twin flame attuned topics that I have been preparing for you for 2 to 3 decades. That is, of course, also a sign that I'm going deeper, that we are going deeper, that we are changing, that we are going to go to this fiery, holy fire of Gaia on earth that wants to birth all the colors that are so magnificent through knowing and living the Nad, the connection with Source in how we're singing here. And I think that's, something that we're just only in the very, very beginning of releasing what that Nad of the song is. We're only in the very, very beginning of that, what that can be for me and for you. So I'm not really worried about that. This is just the very, very start. Even though it, I have been establishing an energy creative curriculum for spiritual work, and then on top of that, I have been establishing how you go in that and through that to your true twin flame. And I have been working for 7 years in practice to train how on earth to how in heaven to really make that happen, and to learn all the things that the divine wants me to know and have experience with for guiding people to their harmonious twin flame unions. That took 7 years in itself, which was just a crowning on the established spiritual energy work that I was already sharing. So it's like I'm talking about, we're in the very, very beginning here, but it's there. That very beginning, of course, in years, you could say, already had taken a long time, but it doesn't matter. That just doesn't matter, I guess, We're at the very, very beginning. Card 14 of the Native Americans. I think here we come closer to the song and the Nad in the song, the source connection in the song. Look at the flute. Let's have a look in the booklet if we are going to go more close to the Nad. And you know what? I talk about the development right here, but that, of course, means that it's for you. It's going to be much more easy to go to the Nad for you, to go to the song for you, to remember the twin flame song of your union. So when you come here and go deeper with us here, you will remember the sweet song of your harmonious union real soon. The more that I develop this atmosphere here, the easier it will be for you to tap into that for yourself. Of course, you first need to choose and go deeper with us here. Kokopelli, the demiurge, risk. Kokopelli is the young god of music and fertility. His flute, a phallic symbol, evokes and promotes fertility in both the field and in the animal kingdom. As he plays his flute, snake or sexual energy wakens, and the natural forces of the world stir to life. Kokopelli's consort was also honored as the mother of the divine race. All children born with special talents are descended from her. We are reminded that whenever we step into our personal power or gifts, we are tapping into the powerful energy of Kokopelli. We can never be quite sure what the results will be or what the energies we will awaken. Just that those results will unfold quickly. Oh, quickly. Did you hear that? Be courageous and use your gifts. Do not shy away from risks, but engage life with your whole body, mind, heart, and spirit. Risk initiating action, creation, ability, gift, tapping into elemental power, immediate responses. Well, there you go. Lots of reason to be happy here. Divine Mother really wants to know us to know that we all must tap into the sound of how creation wants us to sound. Sort of, we are the flute, and the divine can just like a wind move through us and make these beautiful sounds through our union that we are. That's how it's supposed to work. That's how life is supposed to function. You are supposed to be lived through by the wind of the divine, and you as the instrument will sound like the divine song. And your true twin flame will recognize that song and join you. And by joining the song of the teacher and doing the true twin flame work under guidance, you will go there quickly, and then you will keep on maintaining your own song. Detachment from the divine abundance cards. With detachment, you finally feel whole inside, with or without the fulfillment of the particular desire. Ironically, that's often when it's fulfilled. Didn't we just say that? So maybe some other this quality comes in here. Invite help. Invite the divine to pursue you seriously. Just say, I'm finally ready, God, pursue me. Well, one more. What does Divine Mother want us to know? Two more. Delusion. Intention without surrender can be a fast path to delusion. Love. Divine source is the idea that no person, place, or thing is your salvation, only love itself. We clearly need to surrender into it. Divine Mother wants us to know something of the Oracle of the Roses. Thorn. Protection, boundaries, clear communication. When you are on the path of reminding yourself of the song of your union, you might also get into connection with the thorn that had made it so that it wasn't available to you earlier. Your block. And just take it out. And an angel answer, romance will be the result. You see how simple we just talked about. Maybe it's your biggest block of your entire journey. This thorn that you will get to know when you get into connection with the true song of your union. But you just take it out and there's a romance. Romance. Just take it out. Isn't that simple? It's actually really simple, guys. Friends, it's simple. But it all takes place on the soul level, not on the ego level. The ego can't come in union. And it's the thorn itself. But when it's taken out, here's the romance. It will be just immediately present. Because the basic foundational ground tone of your life is romance. It's what we are. Now let that sink in. Meditate on that. You are romance. Now we're going to get an energy point, which is very closely connected to the idea that you are romance, because that means that we are in an ongoing energetic movement that feels good when we relate to source, not when we relate to the ego. Then we might have a very different perception of our energy and we are deluding ourselves. Happens a lot that someone wants to learn more and goes on a meditational exercise with us or something and experiences their energy in a certain way. And they have certainly some sort of connected to something in and around themselves, but it was actually not their true energy. It was a dream they had placed on top of the reality of their energy. And yeah, I mean, the twin flame romance needs to start somewhere. So sometimes it's just a start that we have made a dream on top of how we're truly doing in our energy field. And that dream is about being with the twin flame. Okay, fine. That's where it starts, no problem. But to really make that come true, you have to sink into what the true energy is that is now in and around you. And it may be very different from that dream. That's for very many people. So I had that problem for years and years. That's what my teacher always said 25 years ago. But when you can go to the reality of how your energy really is right now, even if it is not what you would say nice or positive or clicked in with that dream directly, because you may actually be feeling very angry or very sad or a combination of both. And you were just masking that with the dream of the twin flame. But it suits. I can't speak. It has to start somewhere, so that's in that sense not negative. But you have to sink into how you're truly doing, and maybe that's where you just get to know that you're really angry and really sad, or a combination thereof. But that is closer by the actual result of the true twin flame in your real life. So first go to that reality and then go even deeper than that so that you actually process that anger and sadness or whatever it is, and make a connection with the real source of true peace inside of you. And that's where you start to make come true the real union. So making a connection with the fact that you're very angry and very sad was part of going to the entrance of where you do make it come true. So that's always part of the twin flame journey, that you need to make that step to be courageous enough to go to how you're actually feeling, how your energy is actually attuned. We can delude ourselves and think that we're so incredibly helpful to other people or something. But how I feel someone is that they're just emotionally manipulating everyone around them. That would be, for instance, more like the reality of how they're doing, how their energy is. And you need to go there to the reality to be able to go to, let's say, the super reality of twin flame union that is made out of the subtlety of light itself. And then manifest that in life, also in the flesh and in the emotions and in everything. Okay, so what kind of energy field can help us in this story? Divine Mother. 2. So this is coming on the earth in the reality. It's an energy field that is related to the feet and the legs and the hip bones and the hip area and the perineum, like the lowest point of your torso, where everything is bound together. And the legs as extensions of that, as sort of the roots of that. It's a very basic connecting to the earth, rooting kind of energy field. And it has a sort of an eye form as a symbol. And that means what I just explained. It means that you need to start to see yourself for whatever is going on there, but for real. Because you only can ground when you allow yourself the reality of how you're feeling. Otherwise, there's no progress. You're just deluding yourself. Even though, again, what I said, it is a possibility that you just have this dream of being together with the twin flame. You do use it as a mask right now over what is really going on. But it can be a starting point. It can be like, I do have this dream, and that's beautiful, and I love that for you, and it is a starting point. That's true. But you will have to sink into how you're really doing, because that is the only doorway towards the even deeper door towards where your union is here. And you have to connect with that union energy to make the union come true on the physical level, which is what you truly desire, which is even deeper than that, because it's like you dive into that source, not even energy, but like more subtle than energy. And then through that door, you throw everything through that door, some sort of, what you are, what you have, what you think about yourself, everything you own, you throw it through that door. And then you get on the other side of the door, and that's where you crawl out and start to build with your true twin flame on the relationship, on the house, building a home, building a family, building a business, building your future. That's how it works. And now we're going to get a message from Divine Mother with these spiritual messages. 2 flipped out. The outside world does not exist. Everything I see is a projection of my own inside world. Were we not just talking about exactly this? So, and everything that we've talked about now is actually very, very crucial for every twin flame process to make it come true. This is such a good video to give a description of what you will go through. But the point is that you need to actually go through it. And that is my real work as well. That is what I do, what I do every day. It is about guiding you, giving you the space to actually move through these processes and do that together in, like, from heart to heart, opening in that atmosphere. And then you move through all these stages that I'm speaking about here. And when you do that, you will experience at a certain moment what I've just tried to describe. That is like you throw yourself and everything you are and have through the door of your union when you've gone to how you truly feel instead of the mask. And then you go through the door of union, which is even more subtle than energy. And then you throw yourself and everything you are and have through that door, and you crawl out on the other side. And that is the place where you can start to build on the relationship that is your union, and the family that is your union, and the mission business that is your union, and whatnot. And that is what is here. The outside world does not exist anymore there. You've thrown everything you are and have through the door to the other side. In the inner world, completely. And that is where you start to build this new life. And you will experience the world and life like that, as the inner world, where everything is a projection of what you really are, union. That's what you really are. You are union. But in the process, because that's where you ultimately want to go, right? That's how it works. In the process, we already say, okay, I already understand what's going on in that world on the other side of the door. And that is that everything I see is a projection from my own inner world. So I know I'm not there yet, but I already start to apply what this is so that I make it more easy to make all these steps and go to the other side of the door and start to build my union with my true twin flame in harmony. And that will mean that already right now you start to understand that everything that happens is a projection of your own inner world. And when you already start to do that right now, you already start to go through that door right now. And this also happens a lot, people are like, oh, but Petra, you are this, you are that. I do hear that. But these are projections of that the people's own inner worlds. And when they would take it very seriously that they really want to go to that union place, they would also know that that is a good exercise to actually take fully seriously, because that will bring you there. That's part of what brings you there, is understanding that everything that you think about me is a projection. It's so funny, as a teacher, you start to understand that you become some sort of a it's like you become a wand for the student. I become this. They start to project onto you because that is their inner work. It's very interesting. And then I sort of become an instrument for them to start to understand what's going on inside them. That's just being a twin flame teacher sort of puts you in that position. Anyway, like in how the process goes. So again, that's clearly not me, but I understand that's like how it goes. You see, for you. Anyway, our sexuality is given to us by God to also experience Him in that. Don't you just love that? And isn't the twin flame the high point of anything sexual at all? There is no bigger high point, mountaintop, orgasm in the universe than being with your true twin flame in harmony and developing that, maturing that. And I literally mean that. That's it. I'm not even yet talking about the sex that is physical inside your later eventual living together. Just the whole thing in itself is the biggest form of sexuality, of things being attracted to each other, of things that belong to each other, enjoying each other, desiring each other continually, and feeling that out. That movement in the heart itself and the reality of it is the biggest sexual high point that you can even imagine. The real physical sex in the bedroom is just one way that expresses. So let's get another messages tag. This is the personal messages. The former was like the spiritual messages. Oh, this one was sort of jumping. So here we go. In love. This is Dutch, of course, as you know. In love, I am not dependent on other people. Love is a state of being. Didn't I just talk about that? And now I am seeing clearly, guided by Divine Mother, as always, the Egyptian card. So, what is your message, Divine Mother, about twin flames today? We've just talked so much about what really the process that will happen for people, and now we get into the sexuality that it is all about when you've gone through that movement or through that door and are crawling out on the other side and maturing yourself into the harmonious twin flame union consciousness state in the physical that takes shape there in the physical. And then you get into connection with what actual twin flame sexuality is truly about in the heart in the first place, and experiencing that everything is sexual, especially for twin flames. And what do you want us to know now through the Egyptian cards? Please be very clear what card I'm going to get. Sun Eye, Mystery School, the right eye of Horus, the divine masculine path. Put a talent or quality of yourself more in the light. Show yourself. New knowledge comes to you in the form of a book or a course. Meditation idea. Connect yourself via the crown on your head with cosmic wisdom. Recently, we have been talking in a couple of videos about the Moon Eye Mystery School of the Divine Feminine, which is really what I lead. And now we have the card that says Sun Eye Mystery School of the Divine Masculine path, which is really about the directness of consciousness. Whereas the Mystery School of the Moon Eye, of the Divine Feminine part, is more about energy work. So now we have the other one right here in our conversation, which to me, with this in mind and the background of it, and that I represent the Mystery School of the Moon Eye, of the Divine Feminine, knowing that means that I work together with the Christ Masters that have the Divine Masculine, this one, Mystery School of Consciousness. so that even the schooling that I provide has some sort of a twin flame structure in its methodology. Not because I fantasized that, not because I wanted that. I'm currently not doing what I wanted. If I would be doing what I once wanted with my life, I would be doing something else, I think. It would sound very different, and I would not even be talking about twin flames. I just came out of this process as what you see now. I met the Christ masters that are here to make sure that the new layer of consciousness in the universe is being rolled out, that is about harmonious twin flame union. I met them in the flesh. That was a huge initiation that was mutual. That made me into the person I am today, which is the lens through which I provide everything that I was already sort of developing and are now newly developing. I didn't decide that. It was not something that I wanted in that sense, but it was God's will, and I'm surrendered to God's will, whether I like it or not. So, having said that, we have the sun eye today of the divine masculine path. So, when we talked about coming into the orgasmic truth of true union, of the heart and of everything, and of course also in the bedroom, don't you worry. In these stories, like this is like, to me, this is like, and here the divine masculine twin flame comes in. He steps in. He completes my story here. Do you understand? Yeah. He just completes my story. Because that's what happens here. That's what happens at this place when you are there, what I've described, what we've read. The twin flame comes there with you. End of story. Leadership of the life purpose cards. Take the lead. And this is a Christ master. Because that is, what's her name? The French Revolution. You tell me. What's her name again? What's her name? Oh, we do have a booklet. Maybe I can just, I know what I'm trying to say, but just like the word doesn't come out. That's how dreamy I am. Which I am. No. It doesn't say it here. Or am I just fantasizing that this card is that? No, that is it. Am I just fantasizing that? Joan of Arc. Now I know it. So looking in the booklet did help, because now I know what I would try to say. Joan of Arc, which is a Christ master as well, that I was not specifically aiming at when I just talked about it, but it is true. Same soul family. So she's saying to me, and through me to you as well, certainly for you, I received this message. And then it's for you too. That's how everything goes. That is union related. That's how you pass on harmonious union. First you receive it yourself, and then you pass it on. That's how that works. It's the technique of things. Joan of Arc. There's this beautiful song from Kate Bush's, one of her last album, or one of her latest albums. latest, let's say latest. And she has this song about Joan of Arc. Joni, Joni. I love it. It's such a powerful song. I mean, isn't that the enormous female leadership that we all want? Leading the revolution? I'm just breaking over this. The divine masculine and divine feminine leading humanity. So I'm just breaking over this. Leading humanity forward. Like the king and queen that they are. That's how sacred they are, but it is also the leadership. This is going to be, what's it called? The Golden Tarot. So, Divine Mother, what do you want us to know today about Twin Flame Union? I think we pretty much arrived, didn't we? Well, we certainly arrived at my tears. So, the Golden Tarot that I really love. It has all these medieval paintings rearranged with Photoshop into looking like the classical tarot. And this one now turned around on me. The Three of Cups. This is the party that we're talking about here. This is the high point of high points. Three of Cups is all the graces are partying together. And we can be that together. We're just partying over our success with union, counting our blessings. And that's what you will reach to. That's what's ahead for you. That's what the message is for today from Divine Mother. And I hope that helped. We are in the fall of 2024 now. And I have started this Wednesday meditation opportunity. So if you like to get some just very basic relaxation of the heart to make a foundation for the true twin flame work, in which we also go to healing quickly because we'll also be working with the 9 energy points, of which this was one. And that'll quickly also be very healing. So if you think like, "Ooh, that sounds for me," then you can come to join us every Wednesday. I have a link. You can ask me about it. Of course, you can always, whether you want to join the Wednesday meditations or not, you can always come to our Facebook group because all such kind of opportunities are very easily accessible through the Facebook group. And talking to me is very accessible through Facebook as well and whatnot, right? That's really the living room of what we do here, where you also can do self-study about the key tool and all kinds of other things. So, yeah, I just wanted to mention that again, that we have the meditation every week for you. We also have every month in the Facebook group. I mean, the meditation is general. It's not necessarily connected to the Facebook group, but every small, nice opportunity that will help you forward is connected to the Facebook group anyway. And we do in the Facebook group also in October again have the mini program consisting of 4 events in a weekend, mostly, that open up 4 different approaches to twin flame inner work. Just something that you can do. You can also, for sure, simply ask your strategy session, and we can find out together how I can help you, because that's what I'm here for. And who knows? What is your story? What is your contribution? What is your question? Just let me know in the comments down below. And if you've reached this end of the video, of the live, of Twin Flame Abundance Live of this week, and you want to contribute, but you don't know how, just give me 2 flames in your emojicons as an answer. All right. See you real soon. Next week, for instance, in the live again. Much love from Petra.